Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Stylist Meets Vinyl. My name is Chris. Today, I'm going to tell you a story. It's story time. Now, it occurred to me recently that I have a number of albums in my collection that have songs on it that tell some pretty interesting stories. And I thought it would be fun to relay some of those stories from those songs to you guys, just the same way as, when you're a kid and you're getting tucked into bed and your parents read you a story. It was always one of my favorite parts about going to sleep. I love hearing stories. I love telling stories. And I even enjoy writing stories, that sort of thing. But I really wanted to have some way to be able to tell you guys some stories from my record collection. And there's a bit of a backstory to this. And before I get started, I need to get out of the way that about a year ago, I made a video as a tribute to Gordon Lightfoot. And in that video, I talked about 5 Gordon Lightfoot songs and the stories that they told. And some were based on real events, some were fiction. And I just really enjoyed that idea of telling those stories. Gordon Lightfoot's a fantastic storyteller. They're beautiful songs. And I really enjoyed that. And I kind of thought, hey, maybe there's a way I can do that again. And that's where this idea came from. And then I kind of sat on it for a little bit too long. And then most recently, my friend Brian at Embryonic Robot did a thread of songs about Toronto. He made at least 3 videos where he talked about records that have songs on it that reference Toronto, and inevitably talking about those songs, sometimes he would tell a story about what that song was about and how it relates to Toronto. And I was watching the video, and my fiance Annika, who was in my last video, she was in the room at the time, and she kind of said to me, hey, she's listening along, and she says, hey, this is kind of similar to your idea. I said, yeah, it is a little bit similar. He's, telling these stories, but I found myself engrossed in all the stories that he was telling. And then a couple days later, my other friend Rob at Northern Revolutions came out with his video, which was true story songs, where he talked about records that he has that tell true stories. And I thought, shoot, I missed my chance to make my video, because now it's just going to seem like I'm copying Rob. And so anyways, I messaged Rob right away, and I kind of explained to him that I had this idea that I've been sitting on for way too long. And, he obviously was super understanding, and he gave me the go ahead and told me to just make the video anyways. And so thanks for that, Rob. And I am going to tell you guys now the story of the Carolina Drama, which is from the album Consolers of the Lonely by the Raconteurs. This is their 2008 second album. This is a fantastic album. I've talked about it a few times, and I've also talked about this song before, but I've never gotten into it. And I thought it would be appropriate to start my story time with this song, because the name Raconteurs actually means in French storytellers. So it did seem appropriate. And it should be known there's a lot of songs that just have a natural narration to them, a natural progression where things happen. I'm talking specifically about songs that tell a story. There's a narrator, there's characters, there's a beginning and a middle and an end, and it takes you on this journey and you follow along. So in that vein, I'll tell you the story of Carolina Drama. And this was written by Jack White and Brendan Benson of the Raconteurs. It is sung by Jack White. And it tells about a drama in Carolina and between this family. And there's a younger brother who's 10 years old. There's an older brother, Billy. His name or his age isn't disclosed, but he's old enough to at least have a truck. And I think he's a little bit hungover when he wakes up. So he's in his teens or like young 20s, early 20s kind of thing. They have a mother that they live with who is at the house. They call it a junk house in South Carolina. And the mother has this boyfriend. And the boyfriend is described in the song as a triple loser with some blue tattoos that were given to him when he was young, and a drunk temper that was easy to lose. Thank God he didn't own a gun. And that's going to be a little pertinent later on in the story, that he does not have a gun and he has a drunk temper. Now, the narrator of the song begins the song by saying, I'm not sure if there's a point to this story, but I'm going to tell it again. So many other people try to tell the tale, not one of them knows the end. He describes the junk house, he describes the family, the mother with this loser boyfriend, and this older brother, Billy, who wakes up in his truck. He's hungover. he kind of sits up, he throws up, he peers into the back of his house, and he sees through the window that his mother is inside with her boyfriend, and his boyfriend is losing it on this old priest, this other character in the song, this old preacher. And the boyfriend is strangling this preacher, and he's punching him, and he's hitting him with everything, and the preacher ends up collapsing onto the ground, and he's gasping for air, and they say in the song, the preacher was putting up the fight of his life, but he was old and he was bound to lose. And so now Billy ends up to he decides to get up, he gets out of the truck, he enters the house, and they say that he knew the preacher, but he never actually met him. But he said to himself, as he saw the boyfriend beating up this preacher, he says to himself that the line is, he heard himself say, "That must be my daddy," and he knew what he was going to do. I think that's kind of a funny line in the song, that he just sees this preacher getting beat up and just connects the dots and says, hey, that must be my dad, who I never knew. But yeah, that's my dad now. So anyways, I thought that was kind of funny. But so this preacher is his dad, who he never really had a relationship with. But so Billy decides he needs to do something. He needs to stop what's happening. So he looks around for any blunt objects he can find. The only thing he can find is a cold glass bottle of milk that gets delivered every morning at 9. So he has this bottle of milk. He goes into the house. He turns around and he locks the door. And the boyfriend sees Billy, and the boyfriend shouts at him, "Get out!" And Billy says, "Not till I know what this is all about." And the boyfriend says, "Well, this preacher here was attacking your mama." But Billy knew just who was starting the drama. And now at this point, the song, which has been pretty quiet and kind of eerie and slow, it starts to crescendo and it starts to build up, and the music gets louder and the instruments are playing faster, and the narrator's getting more into it, and he's getting louder and singing louder, and you can feel that this tension is building. And so Billy knew just who was starting the drama. So Billy took dead aim at his face and smashed the bottle on the man who left his dad in disgrace. The white milk drips down with the blood, and the boyfriend fell down dead for good, right next to the preacher who was gasping for air. And Billy shouted, "Daddy, why'd you have to come back here?" His mama reached behind the sugar and honey and pulled out an envelope filled with money. "He's been paying, your daddy gave us this," she collapsed in tears. "He's been paying all the bills for years." Billy shouts to his mom, "Mama, let's put this body underneath the trees and put daddy in a truck and head to Tennessee." Just then, the little brother comes in, holding a milkman's hat and a bottle of gin. And then the song breaks into this refrain that has been kind of just sort of disguised in the background of the song. This la 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 la, and it gets louder and louder, and they're singing and singing. And then you're expecting this resolution to find out what happened to this family. Like, how did they get away? What happened? And the narrator, after the music finally calms down, the narrator says, "Well, now you heard another side to the story, and you want to know how it ends. If you must know the truth about the tale, go and ask the milkman." And then that's it. That's the end of the song. And it kind of, I don't know how to feel about the ending. In some ways it bothers me. It's like when you're watching a movie and it just like fades to black and the credits go, and you're sort of like, wait, like, did they get away? Like, what happened? And so it always kind of bothered me, but then again, you have to connect the dots, and especially because like the song starts with the narrator saying, "So many other people try to tell the tale, not one of them knows the end." But then he says, "If you want to know the truth about the tale, go and ask the milkman." But then you've also got this connection to milk, where it's like the milk bottle is the murder weapon, and the little brother comes in with the milkman's hat, and so there's a lot of questions that I have, but I guess you just have to try and decide for yourself how it ends. And anyways, I think it's an interesting story. It's worth telling, and I think it's definitely worth listening to this song. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link to the song in the description of this video. If I can find like a music video, I'll do that. I'll leave the lyrics to the song in the description, and I'll also leave links to Rob and Brian's videos that I mentioned off the top here if you want to go check those out and hear some more stories. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like. Let me know if you want to hear more stories, because I do have some more stories. I'd love to do another story time with you guys. So please let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Whatever you do, make sure you come right back here where Stylus meets vinyl. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.